How's it going, everyone? Recovered Kid Seth here for some Fat Loss 101 for you. Now, I titled this video High Carb versus Low Carb for Beginners because as a beginner to trying to lose weight, there's a lot to try to soak in. I mean, you hear lots of people on both sides of the spectrum, as far as people who say you need to go low carb or people who say you need to go low fat. And yeah, it can be confusing as a beginner, you know. There's so much information out there, and it's going to be hard to know what to believe. So I'm here to kind of talk about the basics of both, give you a little better understanding, and help you decide what you think might be the best route for you, because it varies from person to person as far as which method's going to be better, because they do both work. But that being said, before I even get into any of that, in this first video, I want to talk about something that is more important when it comes to weight loss. Now, I'm assuming if your goal is to lose weight, you probably are looking to lose body fat and not a lot of muscle. And because you don't want to just be super skinny. I mean, if you lose a bunch of weight and a lot of that is muscle, you're just going to be scrawny and you're not going to look good. You know, what you want to do is be lean. There's a difference. So you still have a decent amount of muscle mass, but you trim off that layer of body fat that's over top of it, and boom, those muscles pop out and they look amazing, and you're just going to be so sexy. But even if you don't really care about that so much, but you just want to lose some weight, either way, there's a couple things that you really want to take into consideration before you even think about going low carb, low fat, or neither. So, first thing you obviously have to take into consideration is how much to eat. How many calories should you be eating? And the reason for this is because the whole old saying, eat less, move more thing when it comes to weight loss, it's not very sexy, it doesn't sound appealing, but it is true. Ultimately, that is what you have to do. You have to be in a caloric deficit, which means you're taking in less calories than you're burning every day. And so what you need to do, if you haven't done this yet, you need to get online and find one of the BMR calculators. There's tons of websites for it that'll help you determine how many calories a day do you need to consume in order to lose weight. So first do that, and then once you've done that and you've got your number, your calorie target to shoot for, then the next thing I'm about to tell you is crucial, and that is you need to make sure you get in sufficient protein. And that's why you hear about low carb diets, low fat diets, but you don't hear about low protein diets, because it's a terrible idea. You don't want to do it. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. That if you're going to skimp out on any macronutrient, protein is the last one you want to skimp out on. It is super important. And even if you're not trying to lose weight, here's a little side tangent. Even if weight loss isn't the goal, you want a good amount of protein in your diet. I mean, there's so many benefits from protein, including, muscle retention, building muscle if that's your goal, weight loss, just your skin, your hair, your nails, just if you got little cuts or bruises, just to heal your body, you want lots of protein. I mean, you don't have to have a ton. You don't need to become a carnivore, but you need to make sure you get in a good amount of protein. I mean, it's good for cognitive function, your brain. It's good to help balance your blood sugars, to help prevent diabetes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, protein is super important. And from a biological standpoint, it makes a lot of sense, because if you think about it, do you think our ancestors ate nothing but berries and grass and nuts and all that kind of stuff they could forage? No, they were killing animals so they could get the amount of calories and the amount of protein they needed to thrive. So, and if you're a vegetarian, obviously you don't have to eat meat, but you need to get in your protein. And so yeah, protein is the first thing you got to take into consideration when you start a diet. You got to make sure you're getting in enough protein. Now, what is enough? There's been a lot of research done on this, and what the studies are pointing out to is that to maintain muscle mass when you're in a caloric deficit, you really need to take in a minimum of 0.825 grams per pound and up to 1.3 grams of protein per pound. Now, what I suggest to make it simple, make it easy, is whatever you weigh 150 pounds, eat 150 grams of protein per day. If you just eat 1 gram per pound of body weight, you're going to be right in that middle of the range that is suggested, and you're going to know you're not getting too much, you're not getting too little. And so it's just a good number to shoot for, a good place to start out at. And if you decide, and you can tweak it either way. If you need a little more, then go for a little more. If you find you don't need that much, you can go a little bit, you can go closer to the 0.825 grams per pound. It just all kind of depends on how active you are and what your goals are. But ultimately, you cannot skimp out on the protein. You've got to get that in. That's why you don't hear about low protein diets, because there's no such thing. As far as a successful fat loss program, you're not going to hear about people telling you to go low on your protein. It's just unheard of. And like for the first big reason why, but I kind of mentioned that earlier, is to maintain your muscle mass. Because when you're dieting down, it's inevitable that you're going to lose some muscle. You can't lose pure fat. It's just not going to happen. Not to the most well-trained, the people with their diet on point. You're always going to lose a little bit of muscle too, which you just can't avoid it. But you can minimize that muscle loss. And to minimize that muscle loss, strength training, lifting weights, being active, using your muscles is one great way to lose a majority of that weight from fat and not muscle. But the other thing that's crucial and key is making sure that you get in enough protein. It's gonna kind of counteract some of the protein breakdown that's gonna occur, because when you're in a caloric deficit, protein synthesis is impaired. And so you need to add in extra protein if you are dieting for weight loss. Just, help maintain that muscle mass. And then the second reason why a high protein diet for weight loss is very effective is because out of the 3 macronutrients, protein is the most satiating. It helps with satiety a ton. And what I mean by that is it's the most filling macronutrient. If you add protein into your meals are going to be much more filling. It's going to be way easier for you to stick to your diet if you're feeling full and satisfied after you eat. It's just the most filling nutrient is protein. You get the most bang for your buck as far as calories go. For the amount of calories you consume in meat or whatever source of protein you're going for, it's just going to be the most filling for that amount of calories, period. And so yeah, that's the second reason why. And then the third reason why a high protein diet is really helpful for fat loss is that the thermic effect of protein is the highest. Now, the thermic effect is the amount of calories that your body burns just to digest and absorb and transfer the nutrients throughout your body where they need to go. And so you're going to burn more calories by eating more protein. So it's just a little edge, it helps. It's just a little advantage as far as keeping your total daily expenditure higher, is by consuming a good amount of protein. And they say that studies show kind of that out of the 4 calories that's in a gram of protein, one of those calories is going to be burned up just digesting that protein, essentially. So if you were to eat 150 grams of protein in a day, that means your body's going to burn 150 calories just digesting that protein. So yeah, and it just helps you stay fuller for longer, which another thing that's going to help you stick to your diet big time. So yeah, So yeah, this is part one of the video. I just wanted to go into what's really most important, is making sure you're hitting your calories and making sure you get in lots of protein. And in the second video, I'll go into the low carb approach. So yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part two. And I'm out.